This is Unit 1, Lesson 2. How do I read a map? The first thing we need to know is that maps deal with location. Location is one of the 5 themes of geography. You see it at the top of this graphic organizer. There are 2 types of location, and that is absolute and relative. Relative location tells us the position or a place or point on the Earth's surface in relation to other locations. For example, Walmart is across the street from Chick-fil-A. That's an example of relative location. You can probably think of one related to where your house lives, where your favorite restaurant is. Absolute location is an exact position or point on the Earth's surface. Any example of absolute location must include latitude and longitude. An example of this location would be 23 degrees north and 57 degrees west. When we give latitude and longitude, latitude, which is a north-south direction, is always first. So what is longitude? So we see longitude here on the right-hand side of this graphic. Longitude are lines that run north to south on the globe, but measure distance east to west. So imaginary lines that run north to south on the globe, but measure distance east to west. Lines of longitude meet at the poles, so at the north and south pole. They're also called meridians, and the starting point is the prime meridian, which is 0 degrees. So the 0 degrees, the prime meridian. You'll see at the bottom of that globe. Highest degree of longitude is 180 degrees, and that is known as the international date line. Now latitude that we see here on the left, latitude are imaginary lines that run east to west on the globe, but measure distance north and south. So you're measuring the distance between these lines. They're also called parallels because they never meet. They never run into each other. The starting point is 0 degrees, which is called the equator. You see it here on this graphic as a dashed line. The highest degree of latitude is 90 degrees, and 90 degrees north is the North Pole, 90 degrees south is the South Pole. There are a few other important lines of latitude that you need to draw in your notes. So put in the equator for reference. That is the line right across the center. It is 0 degrees. And then north and south of the equator, we have the Arctic Circle at 66.5 degrees north and the Antarctic Circle at 66.5 degrees south. Remember, you can pause the video at any time to write in these drawings. Now, between the equator and the circles, we have the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Cancer is 23.5 degrees north. Tropic of Capricorn is 23.5 degrees south. These lines of latitude are going to come in real handy and be very, very important when we start studying climate, which will be in our next lessons. So again, make sure you have these lines drawn in. Make sure you have them listed correctly in your notes, because we will need to know these for our future lessons on climate. Now let's talk about a couple different types of maps. Political maps show borders, okay, like the borders between countries. These are probably the maps that you see most often in classrooms or on the news. Political maps just show boundaries of countries. They might have some other physical features, but their main goal is to show these man-made, created boundaries. Physical maps show topography, so that is surface features. They show mountains, deserts. You see the Sahara Desert in this image. So physical maps are showing things that are naturally occurring. They don't often show borders of countries because those are man-made. They might show rivers, lakes, mountains, hills, all of those. Now, topographic maps show the relief or the shape or shading of the lines. Okay, so here we see this is a topographic map of the Greater Hampton Roads area. You'll see the Great Dismal Swamp in the corner down here is indicated differently. Topographic maps use lines and other types of shading to show the physical features, and they're usually a more zoomed in area. They're at a different scale than physical maps are. If a map focuses on a symbolic display or data, such as a country's population, it's called a thematic map. These maps might focus on language, religion, income, population, or any other kind of measurable data. Okay, some show processes. They might show where an oil spill stretched, earthquakes, any geologic data. This map here is showing us plant hardiness zones, so it's showing us some information about climate and what types of crops can grow in certain areas. Another way of showing information about different locations is a cartogram. So these are more artistic. They involve more artwork than normal maps. They distort the shapes and directions and areas beyond what normally maps do because they illustrate statistics in a different way. A cartogram weights the sizes and shapes of states, provinces, countries, based on that information. So a large number makes the area appear bigger while a smaller number shrinks it. So you'll see you can probably identify California and Florida on this map, even Massachusetts sticking out there, but they don't look the normal shapes that they normally would. So this is showing election results. Okay, and so that shows us the number of votes that each of those candidates got. If we were looking at a population cartogram, it would show the outlines of India and China very bloated. And those countries would appear larger and oddly shaped because they are the two most populous countries in the world. All right, now for the next part of your notes, you're going to look at two documents that come from an online atlas we have access to. And it's going to concentrate more on some different map skills. You're going to look at different parts of the map as well as directions on the map. After you do that, you need to mark your notes finished and you can move on to the next part of this unit.